Today we are going to create a piece of art that includes a symmetrical vessel with Aztec-inspired patterns that also has overlapping cacti inside of the vessel. That's a lot of big words, but we'll cover it. This is a 3-part video series. Today we are going to create a piece of art that includes a symmetrical vessel that has Aztec-inspired patterns on it, and inside of the vessel we have overlapping cacti. This is part of a 3-part video series. For this project, you need pencil. You need either some type of grid paper or lined notebook paper. You need scissors. And we are using the 12 by 18 really large sheets. But again, because of my camera view, I am going to be using a smaller 9 by 12. But for your project, you would like to use the bigger sheet of paper. So first we want to start off with this gridded piece of paper. If you don't have grid paper, lined paper will also be just fine. We're going to start off with what is symmetrical. Symmetrical is something that is the same on both sides. So our vessel that we're going to create is going to be a symmetrical vessel. So to start off with that, we want to take our paper and we're going to want to fold it. So I'm going to see the back side. My back side is plain, and I'm going to fold it in half. Now it's really important that you fold it exactly in half because you want it to be on the line. If you can, like this. If you have notebook paper, you're going to want to do the same task. So you'll take your notebook paper, also vertical, and fold it also in half. Again, lining it up. Okay. Then we're going to create our vessel. So you need to think of the different vessel shapes that you see. Maybe you've seen some outside and your parents might have some around the house. These are just different things that plants can grow in. So you can be as creative as you would like with this. So our first step is that you want to draw a slightly curved line at the top. So I'm going to take this, and this is my halfway point. I'm just going to actually make this line a little bit darker just so I can see it. All I'm doing is drawing the actual vase right now, or the vessel. Okay, I'm going to go a couple blocks down, not super far from the top, because we want it to be pretty substantial in size, right? Or if it's easier for you, you can keep your paper folded and draw, right? So this top piece, I'm just going to say, I want the opening of my vessel to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of these wide, right? And then mine's going to come down slightly. And then from here, I'm going to curve this all the way around. And it's going to come back in. And this is actually going to come down. And then this bottom part curves too, but just slightly. So here's half of my vessel. Then from here, what you want to do is you want to try to make the same lines on the other side. That's why we're using a grid. So this is where I started. So I went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 over. So I'm going to make the same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to put a little dot. And then I went down 1, 2, 3, and over 1. So I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3, and over 1. And then I'm going to see if on this curve any of them touch an intersection. They do right here. So from this point, it's down 2 and over 1. Down 2, and it's out 1 like this. They don't really touch again until almost down here. So I'm actually going to go just visually draw my line over. I don't really know where it is, and it's 1, 2, 3 from the end. 1, 2, 3 from the end, and it's right about here. And it goes all the way in and touches this line, so it's 2 over 1, 2. So you just want to give yourself pinpoint places. This is 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So that way you can kind of like play dot to dot, like connect the dots. So I'll continue drawing my line, and then I would draw it over, and this is a curved line. Then from here, this curves out also. It touches this, comes down, curves in, and out. And then the bottom. So this is my vessel. Now your vessel can be any shape you choose. So maybe your vessel looks like this. Maybe your vessel looks like this. Maybe your vessel looks like this. There's so many different styles of vessels that you could potentially create. So here are just some examples. Now, if you chose lined paper, you would do the same concept on the other side. You could bring this over. Now, this red line, there's also a hint. You have the red line on the back, by the way. I can see mine. You can draw where that is, and that's going to be a good indicator of the halfway point. Now, you don't have the vertical grid, but you have the horizontal grid. And then you would just have to, you could eye it with your hands like this. Like this goes in like that. And then it goes out way past this line, on this line. And you would draw it like so. Once you have yours drawn and you've attempted the other side, okay, this was my original, so I'm actually going to put a star on it. And I'm going to fold my paper in half, like this. And I'm going to take those scissors I needed earlier, and I'm going to cut this out while it's folded. I'm going to use my original side. Now what this does is, here's my vase. I open this up. I have a perfectly symmetrical vase. And what's nice about this is I can see my original lines that I attempted and see how close I got. You might have been way off. Your line might have been way inside, and that's okay. This is the learning part of the process. You can see how hard it is to duplicate something and make it perfectly symmetrical. All right, next you're going to need your large sheet of paper and your pencil, and this is going to become your stencil, so we still need it also. All right, so next you're going to take your paper and your vessel that you created, and you're going to center it. So what you want to do is have the same amount of space on the right side of the vessel and the left side of the vessel. And you want it pretty close to the bottom. Mine's maybe a 1/2 inch to 1 inch from the bottom. I'll go down just a tad bit more. And once it's placed and it's straight and you're happy with it, then what you'll do is you'll hold it down. And if you're using notebook paper, might be a little bit trickier, but if you keep your fingers really close to the edge like this, and then just kind of slide them over as you trace, then I'm pushing down really hard, but also being able to spin. And then I'm going to keep tracing. And again, keep my fingers really close to the edge. That way your paper doesn't bend. And you're going to trace this around, and this is going to become our vessel. Like this. Now we're going to use these lines, and we're going to use them to create different sections on our vessel, because we want our vessel to have sections, because it's going to be like bands that we create different designs in. So because my paper is smaller, I'm going to go every 2, but on the larger vessels, you want to go every 3. So on the larger vessel, what you want to do is you want to count down every 3 lines. So 1, 2, 3, and you would make a mark on the edge. Then I'm going to count down again. 1, 2, 3, and make a mark on the edge. 1, 2, 3, again. Again. And then I have obviously nothing down at the bottom. And then I'm going to play repeat and do the same thing on the other side. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Oops. Like this. Now, if you have a smaller vessel like mine, what you want to do is you want to count down every 2. So you'd count down 1, 2, make a mark. Now, if you have lined paper, you're going to count down every 5 lines. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you'd make a mark. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you'd make a mark, and so on and so forth. Like this, all the way down your vase. Okay. Once you have all your marks made, I'm going to line this right back up. And I'm going to make a little bitty mark on the outside, like this, on both sides. And then remove this. So from here, I'm going to draw some curved lines. So the opening of my vase isn't actually going to be straight. It's going to be slightly curved. So to draw a curved line, your best thing is to turn your paper towards you, and you always want to curve your hand towards you. So if you're right-handed, your vase will be on the left side. If you're left-handed, your vase will end up being on the right side because your hand naturally will make this curve, okay? So to make a proper curve, it's easiest if you hold your pencil up high. And I'm going to start on the corner, and I'm going to just slightly curve this down. Like this. And then from here to here, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to create a curve. And you're going to continue this again, like connect the dots. Now, the reason I hold my pencil up high is because it lets me draw lighter, and I know at some point I'm going to have to erase, or if I make a mistake, I'll need to erase. So then you have a vase or a vessel with multiple, pretty close to the same size, minus the bottom, stripes or sections. This is all for part 1.